Good morning, agents. Are you prepared to infiltrate Japan? Understanding the language of a foreign country is crucial for any intelligence operation, and Japanese is said to be particularly difficult. One major hurdle when learning Japanese is the presence of kanji. Today, we'll be investigating how to master kanji through examples related to Japanese anime.
タイポグリセミア現象。
These days, it's becoming less common to write things by hand, so more and more Japanese people are saying, I can't write kanji anymore. However, you don't often hear people say, I can't read kanji anymore. The same is probably true for those of you who are proficient in English. You might forget how to spell a word you know well, but you can still read it, right? Now, on the other hand, could you read a sentence filled with spelling mistakes? Try reading the following. You can probably make sense of it. This is called the typoglycemia phenomenon. Even though the letters are jumbled, your brain fills in the gaps, allowing you to read it. However, this doesn't happen for children who are just learning how to read. Since they read each letter individually, they can't rely on this phenomenon. Without the ability to see the whole picture and focus on key points, it's hard to read. The same goes for kanji. Once you understand which parts of a kanji to focus on, you'll start to get a feel for it. As you become more familiar with kanji, you too will reach a point where you can read it, even if you can't write it. When it comes to learning kanji, imagination is key. Particularly, if it's related to something you like, it will stick in your mind more easily. In that sense, kanji that appears in anime is perfect for this. Now, let's begin the actual learning process.
名前を漢字で覚えよう。
Now, let's start the lesson. Take a look at this kanji. This is the kanji for Son Goku, the protagonist of Dragon Ball.
孫悟空。孫悟空。
The anime itself was inspired by the Chinese classic Journey to the West, and Son Goku was originally the name of the main character in that story. Son is a common surname in China, but in Japan, it can also be read as Margot, which means grandchild.
孫。孫。
Many kanji used in Japan have both Chinese readings and native Japanese readings. Keep in mind that when multiple kanji are combined, they are often read using the Chinese-derived pronunciation.
漢字を分解してみよう。
Now, you've learned one kanji, but there are so many kanji that if you try to memorize them all this way, it would be nearly impossible. That's why it's important to develop the ability to group kanji into categories. Complex kanji can be broken down into several parts. Think of it like the word unhappy in English, a word you're familiar with. Just as unhappy can be split into unhappy, the kanji for Margot can also be divided into two parts. The left side of this kanji is ko, meaning child. The right side is the kanji kei, but this character is used in various contexts, making it difficult to express in simple English. So, let's break it down further. If you erase the top line of kei, you get the kanji ito, which means thread. In other words, the kanji kei represents a state where something is connected by a thread. Therefore, it's helpful to think of kei as representing a vague concept of connection. Together, ko and kei create the meaning of connected from child to child, which matches the Japanese word for grandchild, Margot. Then, when you add the kanji for ko before Margot, you get shison, the Japanese word for descendant.
子孫。子孫。
Many kanji can change their meaning when you swap or add parts. For example, by combining the kei radical with a katakana-like I part, it creates the kanji kakare, meaning person in charge. The I part represents a human, so the character as a whole gives the impression of a person connected to something, leading to the meaning of person in charge.
係。係。
The kanji ito, found within kei, is a part used in many other kanji, so make sure to remember it.
糸。糸。
Likewise, the irradical meaning human is found in many kanji as well. For example, it appears in the name of Goku's master, Master Roshi. In English, H is known as Master Roshi, but in the original Japanese, his name is Kame Sennin.
亀仙人。亀仙人。
This kanji means turtle, and in Japanese, it's read as Kame. Many people might recognize it from the chest of Goku's uniform.
亀。亀。
The remaining two kanji mean hermit, and in Japanese, they are read as sennin.
仙人。仙人。
The right side of the middle kanji is the character for mountain, and when combined with the human radical, it forms the image of a person who has entered the mountains to master the art of immortality. Additionally, there's another character from a different anime whose name includes the kanji with the human radical.
伏黒めぐみ。伏黒めぐみ。
Another example comes from the anime Jujutsu Kaisen with the kanji for Fushiguro Megumi. The right side of the first kanji represents dog, and combined with the human radical, it illustrates a dog following its master, giving the character the meaning of submission or obedience. This character is the kanji for Kuro, which means black in Japanese.
黒。黒。
Considering the meaning of these two characters, Fushiguro's name is a perfect fit for a character who controls Shikigami born from black shadows. Now, let's get back to explaining the kanji for Son Goku. Next, we'll skip one and move on to the character for Ku. This kanji can be divided into two parts. The top part is a variation of the kanji ana, which means whole, and the bottom part is the kanji ko, which conveys the idea of craftsman or work. This gave rise to the image of a hole pierced through, which led to the creation of the kanji meaning nothingness, non-existence, and also sky.
空。空。青空。青空。から。から。空き缶。空き缶。空気。空気。
In this way, understanding the parts that make up kanji helps categorize them, making it easier to remember.
同じ読み方を探してみよう。
Next, let's examine the kanji for Go. This is the kanji for Gojo Satoru, a character from Jujutsu Kaisen.
五条悟。五条悟。
The kanji Go conveys a sense of realization or insight, from intuitive awareness to profound understanding.
運命を悟る。運命を悟る。覚悟を決める。覚悟を決める。
The left side resembles the kanji for Sho, but it's actually a transformation of the kanji Kokoro, symbolizing the workings of the mind. This radical is present in many other kanji, making it an essential component to recognize. Also, take note of this radical. This radical often gives you a clue about the pronunciation of a kanji.
祖語。英語。覚悟。
Did you recognize the three kanji that share the same component? Although their meanings differ, when using the Chinese-derived reading, all three are pronounced go. While sharing a common component doesn't always guarantee the same pronunciation, it's useful to remember that kanji with the same part often share a similar pronunciation. For example, the first one, sogo, consists of two kanji that most people rarely use and might not be able to write, even Japanese speakers. But many people can still read it, and that's because both kanji and sogo fit into this pronunciation pattern.
祖先。組織。狙撃。
These also have different meanings, but the kanji that contain the same part as so in sogo are all pronounced so, sharing the commonality. Now, we don't know much about the English version of Jujutsu Kaisen, but I've heard that evil users are referred to as curse users. In the Japanese version, they're called jusoshi, and the kanji looks like this.
呪詛師呪詛師
Take a look at the middle kanji in jusoshi. You can see that it shares the same part with the group of kanji pronounced so. As you can see, components don't just carry meaning but often share the same pronunciation as well, so keep that in mind. Another similar example is with the following kanji.
正義会議儀式
These all contain the same component and are pronounced ge.
実験検査冒険
This time, kanji pronounced ken also share a common part.
救助野球探求
These kanji all have the pronunciation Q. By recognizing kanji parts, you can start to organize them and make learning easier. The more kanji you encounter, the more familiar you'll become. Writing kanji is also recommended, as it helps solidify what you've learned. While it may seem like a daunting task, starting with kanji related to your favorite anime or other aspects of Japanese culture will make the process more enjoyable. We'll be posting more videos introducing kanji, so subscribe to our channel and stay tuned. If you have any questions or requests, feel free to leave them in the comments. Mastering the hidden codes within kanji will surely help make your mission in Japan even more successful. Until next time, agents. Good luck.